Spark Cup, well, that's just about anybody's race, I think. We'll keep a close eye on both, as we have the cars in position for the final race of the day, which is scheduled for 15 minutes. I beg your pardon, 20 minutes, if I look at my other piece of paper. Red lights are on, and they go out, and the first group of cars get underway. And from pole position, it looks like Barry McMahon's made a decent start there, but actually on the inside line, it's George Osborne that's got the lead. Here are the Twin Spark Cup cars getting away from the line. So you've got James Ford and Gethin Cloylan on the front row of the grid, but Andrew Bourke is the one that's trying to make a move down the inside. He's certainly got from third up to second place. Meanwhile, in the lead is George Osborne from Barry McMahon then, Andy.
Yeah, Scott Austin almost replicating his big moment from the start of the earlier race as well in the 155, as he got very sideways on cold tyres. In the Twin Sparks, it's all very touchy-feely as well as they turn through Beckett's corner. John Billingsley there getting hung out to dry, but it is James Ford, the race one winner, that leads the way. Under pressure though from Andrew Bourke, who I think was probably ruining the fact that he didn't make better early progress in race one. Well, you can't argue with his early progress here. He's already challenging for the race lead to the outside down into Brooklands corner. Who breaks later? It's Bourke on the outside line, tries to carry the speed through, tries to close the door, and succeeds in doing both of those things to take the lead away. So Andrew Bourke takes the lead in the Twin Spark element of the race from James Ford in second, and then this battle for third with Richard Ford just about hanging on.
Well, we've got cars from Italy on the track. We've got viewers from Italy on the live stream. Hello to Max Candaran, who's watching from Italy and enjoying the coverage. So, end of lap one then. Barry McMahon it is that leads by about 1.8 seconds from George Osborne in second place. There is the Twin Spark Cup battle as we watch Barry McMahon just pull away quite a long way now clear of George Osborne, and it's side by side a bit further back because this is the Gareth Hayward car moving up into third position at the expense of Tom Hill there. So Hayward, who was challenging Barry McMahon in the early stages of race one, starting at the back of the Twin Spark and the back of the Power Trophy modified group this time. He is making up ground now, and he's now about to challenge George Osborne as they come through to complete lap number 2, and he's going to make fairly short work of that. I think in that ex-Graham Seeger car, he's up to second place.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a challenge in the end, was it? Clearly had a speed advantage there and took full advantage of it to move into second place. Now, we've had some changing in the Twin Sparks because Andrew Fulcher, who was there or thereabouts in race one, wasn't he? But he never really troubled the top four, has broken through into fourth place in class now, so he's heading off after Richard Ford. The top two, though, getting away. Andrew Bourke and James Ford nose to tail, but you can see there the gap back to third place, Richard Ford. Then it is Fulcher ahead now of Gethin Llewellyn in the number 2. And then it's the orange number 6 of Simon Creswell as they all scatter coming out of Copse Corner. Some drivers getting a better exit there than others. Does that result in any overlapping into Beckett's? Not quite, but Andrew Fulcher in the 147 going much better in this race.
Yeah, absolutely right. There you can see the 11 car of Fulcher then when it's Filippo Berio olive oil livery that's made it quite an attraction. It's been used as much as a promotional tool as a race car, I think. But let's watch this battle then with Andrew Bourke and James Ford almost side by side into Brooklands on this, the third lap of the race, and Bourke holding on for the moment. He was the winner of the Twin Spark Cup class in the championship last season in that shortened season, having come close before, but is got plenty of competition on his hands if he's going to repeat that feat this season. Of course, he'll also have an eye on the overall championship as well, because that eluded him last year. Tom Hill getting the championship last year by just a single, or no, by 3 points I think it was in the end, over Andrew. Andrew doing what he can within the Twin Spark Cup class this year, but James Ford pulls out and will challenge into Maggots and Beckett's. Not actually close enough to make anything work though there, Andy.
Yeah, it's really hard to make that overtake actually. Oh, in the background they were side by side, weren't they? That was for fourth. That might have been Fulcher, losing out. Look, Llewellyn's gone back through, and now Simon Creswell and Jonathan Billingsley are both trying to take advantage of that as well. It's a real scrum now as they fight for track position down the Wellington straight. Vulture coming back at Llewellyn there for fourth. But we'll have to back out of it surely in the 147. Yes, he does. And actually, it's Simon Creswell that's the big loser there. He actually falls back behind Jonathan Billingsley. So it's no wonder that Andrew Bork and James Ford are pulling away at the head of the Twin Spark field, is it? With this sort of battling going on behind. Vulture's out wide. He's almost in the gravel. Somehow still carries good speed off Luffield, though, so he cuts off Jonathan Billingsley before he's able to get alongside. But yeah, top two, now top three, really, are making quite a break.
In the first part of the race, Gareth Hayward and Barry McMahon doing similar lap times. Gareth Hayward doing his personal best lap, last time field 103.39 to take a couple of tenths out of Barry McMahon. And they're just going through again now to complete another lap, and that time through it's another 3 tenths taken out, but 4.85 seconds is the gap between McMahon. Oh no, looking at the right, yeah, that's the right thing. Right thing on that lap. It was 3 tenths faster for Hayward, but the gap 4.85 seconds between the two of them. We're a long way clear of George Osborne and Tom Hill and Graham Seeger. So we're focusing then on this battle in the Twin Spark Cup class, and Andrew Bork, it still is from James Ford, getting away then from James's brother Richard in third, and a four-way scrap for fourth place.
Yeah, these four can't get away from each other here, can they? Because Llewellyn, having got back into fourth place in class, is not escaping from Andrew Vulture, who I imagine is rather keen to get that fourth place back if at all possible. They're also going to be lapped by the overall race leaders very shortly. Barry McMahon already cutting his way past the first of the Twin Sparks as the leading two drivers in that class head into Copse Corner. McMahon is still keeping this margin over Hayward, but it did come down on the previous lap, and crucially Hayward is getting quicker, having just set a personal best, whereas McMahon's over half a second off his previous best. Do we have side by side for the Twin Spark lead here? No, not quite. Looked for a moment there that James Ford had got the overlap, but he stays behind for now.
Worth mentioning that with a 102.95, Barry McMahon does now have the overall Alfa lap record, taking that mark away from Roger Evans in his 103.051. Here's the Twin Spark Cup battle for the lead, and it's a familiar story really, with Andrew Bork, number 86, leading, but this time James Ford looks as if he was going to try and go around the outside of him at Brooklands Corner, puts himself on the inside line for Luffield, but the door is closed in his face by Andrew Bork, and so with 12 3/4 minutes to go, it's still Bork that is ahead in that particular battle, and then it's about 2.5 seconds back to Richard Ford in third slot, fourth getting Llewellyn as they continue their battle. There though is the race leader, the outright race leader, just appearing in that battle all of a sudden, and that's Barry McMahon.
Yeah, that lead gap continuing to come down pretty quickly actually, until the moment that I said that and Gareth Hayward got held up in traffic and was slower, but he had been taking the best part of a second a lap out of the leader up until that point, possibly because the leader was in amongst the Twin Sparks, who couldn't be much closer at the front here, as James Ford gets a really good exit from Beckett's, takes a nice tight line, and Andrew Bork is going to have to get his elbows out now to defend the lead. Then you've got Gareth Hayward trying to slice his way through this group as well, and he's going to take it 3 wide, isn't he, up the inside into Brooklands Corner, so he safely gets past them. Now who will come out of this corner in the Twin Spark lead, because Ford is going right round the outside, trying to do to Bork what Bork did to him on the earlier laps. It doesn't work, and they almost came together there.
Yeah, they were very close to doing so, weren't they? But it was averted, thankfully. No harm done, and the battle continues unabated. Possibly, on the previous lap, certainly Richard Ford was a bit faster than the two ahead of him. Was that the case this time around? Yeah, it was again, I think. So Richard Ford is closing in on the top two, I reckon. So that's something to keep an eye on, I reckon. They are going pretty much side by side, it looked like, into Maggots that time. Here they are, still Bork ahead of this all 1-5-6 battle. But there you could see visibly the 9 car of Richard Ford is closer now than it was just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, again taking advantage of the battle ahead of him. There is then still a gap back to Llewellyn in 4th position, who's a bit lonely now. Andrew Bourke is certainly not lonely, though. He's had company from James Ford since the very start of the race, and they're side by side again through Brooklands. Almost an action replay of what happened a lap ago. He's trying to get the inside line for Luffield, but it means going right round the outside through Brooklands, which is a really long, tightening corner, and it means you're on the dirty side of the road as well, and you're always likely to just get eased off the road by the driver to the inside. So James Ford taking a few risks by going the long way round, but if he could make it stick, it could be his best way of getting through. Down towards Copse Corner they go again. Ford once more forces Bourke to drive defensively, and as they head through Copse Corner, I'm afraid we're losing to the pit lane, John Billingsley, who had been running in the top 5 earlier on.
And there he is, heading into the pit lane and out of the race, I'm afraid to say. But the Bourke and Ford battle continues. A slight mistake there, I thought, from Bourke, and I thought Ford might be able to slip through, but he's not been able to do so yet. He's a long time Alfa racer, is James. He's not been able to race as much as he would have liked, though, in recent years. And his best result was in 2020, a 2nd place there, and again he goes to the outside at Brooklands, tries to get halfway alongside for Luffield, but unable to do so. And of course Richard Ford, who's starting his 8th year of the championship, James's brother, right behind him as well in this ex-Tom Hill championship winning 156 City campaigns this season.
Yeah, I wonder whether Richard will cut James any slack here and let him carry on attacking, because if James has to start defending, that does sort of let Andrew Bourke off the hook. Or will Richard be saying, you've had your shot, now it's my turn? Well, they're side by side into Copse. That sort of answers my question. They're certainly not working together here, because James Ford does not allow Richard Ford through there at Copse, and it does allow the leader Andrew Bourke just to breathe a sigh of relief for a moment or two. They're a little bit further separated into Beckett's, and a big mistake is made by James Ford. Almost goes completely off the road coming out of Beckett's corner, and now he is going to have to start thinking about defending from his brother more than he's able to concentrate on attacking for the lead.
Meanwhile, for the overall lead, the gap is down to 1.07 seconds between Barry McMahon and Gareth Hayward, so we'll try and pick this one up as well in a moment, because that time through Hayward took more than a second out of Barry McMahon's lap time. So with 8 minutes to go, we've got not only a good battle for the Twin Spark Cup lead, and frankly James Ford is right back with Andrew Bourke now, but we've got a battle for the overall victory as well between the Power Trophy car of Barry McMahon and the modified class car of Gareth Hayward as well. But so great battles wherever you're looking. James Ford has been trying to get past Andrew Bourke. He's yet to be able to find a way to do so, and he's still not done it at Copse Corner.
No, and runs a bit wide too, so that will give Richard another opportunity to attack. And then we've got some of the overall leaders there. That was Tom Hill, I think, wasn't it? Was one of those, and Graham Seeger, both trying to cut their way through. Andrew Bourke tries to go back ahead. Meanwhile, for the overall race lead, this is the move about to be made, I think, here. Gareth Hayward sets a new fastest lap of the race. He was a second quicker than Barry McMahon, and in the end, there's no contest. So from the back of the grid, after that coolant leak put him out of race 1, it is now Gareth Hayward that leads race 2 with just under 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, 1:02.38, so he's found a lot of time there to smash the lap record. But is this race over? Is Barry McMahon able to come back to him? As Barry was saying, more development has been done on this car over recent months. And here we are back with the Twin Spark Cup cars, and they're side by side here as they come through Luffield and through Woodcote this time. No, I beg your pardon, that's not the James Ford car, is it? Because that's the Tom Hill car, the GT, that they are about to lap. We had the change though just behind, and that Richard Ford now is ahead of James Ford, but Andrew Bourke still leading the Twin Spark Cup class. So it's all happening. The gap between Bourke and Richard Ford is only about a quarter of a second, and now Tom Hill in the more powerful car has well and truly cleared them, as they are about to get involved with Scott Austin as well, who's trying to get through in his 155.
Yes, and not being allowed through at all by Andrew Bourke, who was not willing to move away from the apex there, because he knew that if he did that, it could allow Richard Ford to get alongside as well. It's getting pretty frenetic here between these three as they race once again down the Wellington Straight. So it's now Richard Ford applying the pressure, and he sends it into Brooklands really late on the brakes. The car's squirming around. He's quite a long way alongside though. This might give him the inside for Luffield, but no, Andrew Bork is just able to close the door, drifts a bit wide through the middle of the corner though. So Richard Ford maybe gets his nose alongside. Can he stay there? Yes, he can. And what does James Ford do about all of this? The three of them, you can throw a blanket over the three cars, but it is going to be a lead change. Finally, Richard Ford does in about a lap and a half what his brother wasn't able to do in about 15 minutes. Gets the lead away from Andrew Bork, and now James tries to follow him through.
And I think he's done it. Yes, he has. So James Ford has finally passed Andrew Bork, but unfortunately not for the lead of the class. Now it's down to the two brothers to dispute the lead. I'm sure Andrew Bork's going to have a say in this as well. Still 5 minutes to go in this race. Out front, by the way, Gareth Hayward pulling out a second advantage over Barry McMahon. But yeah, this battle going on for the Twin Spark Cup has Richard Ford leading, James Ford second, and Andrew Bork now in third position, about 2 seconds clear of Gethin Llywelyn in fourth place. And Simon Creswell, the Australian driver, is in fifth. So here comes Richard Ford, number 9, down the Wellington Straight into the left-hander at Brooklands. And there's about 3/4 of a car length between himself and brother James as they turn their way through the right-hander on towards Woodcote Corner. And there's the overall leader just lapping them as well, and he just makes absolute mincemeat of them, doesn't he? So much quicker, so much more powerful is that modified class car.
Yeah, and needed to make quick work of them as well, because Barry McMahon's found a bit of a second wind actually. Ever since he lost the lead to Hayward, he's been able to match Hayward's times, although he drops a few tenths that time in the traffic. Right, Ford's at play in Alfa Romeos, if you see what I mean, with Richard Ford defending the lead here in the Twin Spark class from James on the outside into Beckett's corner. Who gets there first? Still going to be Richard ahead. He's very late on the brakes, but gets the car turned in nicely. 3.5 minutes still to go. And I wouldn't give this to any one of these three drivers just yet. It's still well and truly all to play for. I don't think that Andrew Bork is any slower than the two Fords. He just got shuffled out a lap or so ago. He's showing now that he's got the pace to stay with them, although, as I say, that drops back a bit down the Wellington Straight. So we'll wait and see what happens here over the last few laps. James Ford forcing his brother to defend the lead into Brooklands Corner, which he succeeds in doing so.
Certainly does. So there is number 9, Richard Ford, from number 23, James Ford, and 86, Andrew Bork in the high-tech Alfa Romeo Championship Twin Spark Cup class battle. They've probably got another 3 laps to go, I would suggest, in their particular race. Just for comparison, the lap times they're doing are in the 1:12s, whereas the fastest laps from the quicker cars are 1:02, so about 10 seconds a lap slower than the much more modified cars, but that's not particularly surprising. So down into Maggots and Beckett's they go. Different lines being taken, but they really do chuck the cars around, don't they? These Alfa 156s running in standard production specification, using the 16-valve engines, of course. It's 2 litre. Look at James going left and right. He's stuck to the right in the end. Can he go all the way around the outside?
Sorry, big contact coming through Woodcote. We've had a lead change. Barry McMahon's ahead of Gareth Hayward, and then Hayward made pretty substantial contact with the 44 of Martin Jones. Sorry to jump across you. I was watching that out of the window. McMahon was already ahead, and then Hayward tried to get back to the inside on him as they came through Woodcote, but there was a back marker there, and they sort of met in the middle, and I fear that might have damaged Hayward's car.
Okay, well, let's keep an eye on that. Yeah, 2.4 seconds between them as they went across the line. There's a minute and a half of the race left to go. There is the Hayward car. Let's have a look. It seems to be working reasonably effectively. There's that 44 car that you were referring to, Martin Jones in the 147. But there's our race leader now, Barry McMahon, back in front then. And probably looking as if he's going to stay there now with only just over a minute of the race left to go. The last lap board is being prepared, I can see. Yeah, in the Twin Spark Cup, it's Richard Ford, James Ford, Andrew Bork, still the order. But here is the overall race leader, Andy.
yes, on to his final lap of what's been a dramatic final race of the day, the second one for the high-tech Alfa Romeo Championship. I think you're right. I think Hayward's got away with it. It looked maybe like the car was crabbing a bit, but I suppose he was just taking it easy for a couple of corners to check that there wasn't any significant damage. But scary moment there as they came through to end the previous lap. One lap to go for them. One lap also to go for the Twin Spark leaders, who are still as close as ever. Richard Ford and James Ford, though, have really dropped Andrew Bork, who could even lose third place on this last lap, to Gethin Llewellyn, who's really closed in. Bork has lost all of his pace for some reason in the last lap or so. And there is the battle. Look, Llewellyn up the inside, and Bork was not letting him have that, was he?
No, absolutely right. Meanwhile, James Ford, if he needs any advice on how he could have made a move stick, by the way, in the Twin Spark Cup, he only needs to look at the comment section of YouTube, because he's getting lots of advice there from drivers telling him what he should be doing. I rather fear he's not doing it again here as they come through Maggots and Beckett's to dispute the class battle. Meanwhile, a bit further up the road, and here he is, Barry McMahon comes through to take the checkered flag for the second time today in the high-tech Alfa Romeo Championship, and he is going to get the win from Gareth Hayward, who makes it to the checkered flag this time after that late drama for him. But here is that battle for the Twin Spark Cup, and it is still number 9, Richard Ford from Brother James, 23. Can James go round the outside at Luffield? They are overlapping, but it's a long, long way, much, much further on that line than it is on the inside line at Luffield Corner. And he's dropped back 4 car lengths now, and I think he has resigned himself to the fact that it's going to be Brother Richard that takes the win here.
Thank you very much, Ian. Right, so Barry, you join us back again. Another race win on that one, but at a slight cost on that one. We bit of contact through Woodcote. I don't think it was involving yourself, involving the race leader at the end, near the end of that one. But could you see what happened?
Yeah, so we caught a back marker, and I went on the outside, and I think Gareth may have gone on the inside, and so I tried to leave him a little bit of space on the inside so he could come through, because he was definitely quicker. And when I looked in my mirror, I see he sort of made a evasive action. Maybe he thought I didn't see him, and obviously pulled over, but I was obviously trying to give him a car's length inside. So, but it was an excellent race. Obviously Gareth was obviously starting from the back of the starter pack, and caught up very, very quickly. So it was a good dice.
No, it's excellent stuff for that one. A second race win of the day, and yeah, great result at the end.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
Spot on. Great chat with Barry there. Now we've got the winners of the Fords, the 2 brothers. Now, we were hoping to get both of the Ford brothers, but unfortunately one didn't want to stick around for a conversation. He drove straight past the marshal trying to bring him in, but we have obviously got the number 9 of Richard Ford. Richard, what a race that was. Of course, you were in like 3rd place for the majority of that one. You fought your way through, managed to get past both of them, your brother included.
Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult one. I've got to say that, really, really slippy. But I mean, luckily I got sort of up to 3rd early on, and then just tried to keep pace with James and Andrew. And luckily, you know, when they were dicing and there was some other cars coming through, I managed to sort of take an advantage and just went from there really, and just tried to hold it. So.
Well, that definitely seemed to be the clutch point, wasn't it? Where the traffic coming through, faster cars or lapping cars, you know, it was definitely a challenge for, I think, all drivers involved in that one. But, you know, a fantastic race on that one. We were saying there's been a lot of comments in the stream of people saying that that's how you overtake. Maybe you need to teach your brother a few tricks.
Well, I don't know. It was, like I say, it was just, you know, you see the lines and you kind of go for it as long as you've got the room. I mean, everybody would do the same, so, you know, I don't know what to say.
Well, excellent stuff. A great result for you on that one, and a win for the Twin Sparks.
Thank you. Cheers.
Excellent stuff then. Well, final race of the day for that one. Fantastic and very exciting race from the Alfa Romeos, but back to you, Ian, in the commentary box.